you guys are still here. Alright, so that is a swarm of bees. Yesterday was the first kind of nice day that we've had in a while. It's been kind of cold and rainy, and allegedly, according to beekeepers in the know, bees like to swarm after a storm, which we did have. And so this thing's probably about 10-12 feet up in the air. I'm going to see about setting up a hive. Now, just a caveat here, a week ago I actually had my very first swarm, and I brought my camera out. It was a very easy swarm to catch. It was about a foot off the ground. So you may have seen in other videos that I've done, I had this weirdly Dr. Seuss little contraption that I had built out of like 1x2 lumber. I painted like sky blue that it was going to be a, kind of one of those obelisk type contraptions in the garden for whimsy that would help support one of my climbing roses. Didn't work so well, but I kept it going because, it was something that I built. Ooh, look at that blue sky behind me. Yeah, so the bees settled on that little contraption about a foot off the ground. All right, this is my little wood pile, but I just wanted to show you the leftovers of the little trellis obelisk thing. And there's, ooh, someone left a dead rat on the top. Okay. Got some wool that I had stored down in my garage that evidently some mice got into, so I just decided, and then we had some wax that I scraped off some frames that I threw on here because wax does burn. Yes, I could have saved it and melted it down, but I just don't have the time. So anyway, since the bees don't want me over there for some reason, and I don't feel like putting my bee veil in, they're flying around so much they keep flying into my hair and then getting ticked off. So this was the little rose bush that I had, the little blue obelisk thing going around, and so it had tipped over in the wind and was about to fall over. So after that caught the swarm, I proceeded to remove everything and trim back the roses. I've got this rose that I've done, that rose over here that I've done. I've got this one still left to go. Stuff that I should have done at least a few weeks ago, if not a few months ago, but oh well. There's the remainders from this rose that I need to pull over to the burn pile. But okay, so I had this wonderful, it was like 15 minutes long, start to finish, but it was an extremely windy day. I mean, like gale force winds. I think even the bees in the swarm were going, why did we decide to swarm today? But they did, and the fact that it was only a foot off the ground, I went ahead, grabbed them, and I installed them in that was the hive that had the dead out this past winter that I cleaned out, and I moved from here by the tree to over here a little bit more out into the sunshine. So bees in there. So they've been going for about a week or so, seem to be doing fine. I need to check and see if I need to give them any more syrup, but everyone seems to be doing okay. So yesterday, the what do you call them? The big guys, the ones who have been doing this for forever, always say that bees generally tend to swarm between 10 a.m. and like 1 or 2 o'clock. So I've been looking out yesterday, since it was such a nice day after a big storm. Didn't see anything. I went inside. It was like 3 o'clock maybe. So after the time that, we were told don't do it. I have been looking in the usual spots, where that swarm is right there. That's the bee swarm tree. Invariably, half the swarms that happen each spring go up into that tree. Nothing there. I keep checking, I keep listening, because you can hear the sounds of them buzzing around as they start cycloning up in the air. Nothing. I come downstairs because my dad's going to come over and make a little repair on the siding on my house that got blown down in a previous storm. And I saw not only that one, but right here in the corner of my pallet raised bed was another massive bees swarming. So I was helping my dad. I thought, I'll go and collect at least one of them before he leaves. 20 minutes later, these guys are all gone. I have no idea. Don't know if a queen was on her mating flight and wanted to stop there and rest. Don't know. But these bees are exhausting. They don't play by the rules. I guess it keeps you on your toes. So, yeah, so I don't know if this was just a mating flight and the bees that were on here were just helping to guide her along, or if it was a swarm and they had already found their new home and they boogied out earlier. But the swarm that's over there in the tree has been there all afternoon yesterday, overnight, which got down to, I think it was 33 degrees, and they're still there. So now I have to decide, because I already have, let's see, 7 hives, and I really don't want that many hives. So I have to make a decision of whether or not I want to mow around my garden before all this goes to seed, or if I want to go catch some crazy bees, or let them fly and be free, in the words of Robin Williams. So I'll have to dwell on that. So I think what I'll do right now, I've got some, I really need to weed whack. I've got so many grass seeds coming to bear. They're going to start falling off and reseeding themselves in the raised beds, which I don't want. But yay, everything's green. A little crabapple, and all these flowers that I don't remember a lot of them. I know there's catnip in here. And I should have yarrow over there on that corner. And then I should have coreopsis. I think that's a poppy. So I should have poppies in here. What's left over of the daffodils that are done blooming. I'm just going to let them go until they start dying back, and then I will cut them flush to the earth. I had flowers on my crabapple here, so maybe I'll have a few crabapples this year. Always exciting. Okay, so I'm mildly excited. Let me get over on the other side so you don't see anything but my shadow. So this is just a little raised bed. It's like 3 by 8, 3 by 6, maybe 6. But I had a lot of scion wood left over when I was pruning my trees back in February, and I had them stored in my refrigerator. And I thought, I want to do an experiment. And so what I did was, I've got 2 kinds of pear, the dripping honey, which is an Asian variety of pear, and then I had bought some scion wood for Comise pear, which is which you can see there are little leaves coming up on it. Try not to get too excited. I believe this is the dripping honey. I'm going backwards. I don't think these are 2 different kinds of apples here on the end. I don't see them. But I've also got, let's see, this over here is the Whitney crab apple. And then the Granny Smith. And they all seem to be, at least mostly, seem to be budding out and getting some green on them. So I'm not going to hold my breath for long, because there's always the possibility that they're just going to leaf out and then they're going to die after the root system doesn't develop. But I use the really strong, the strongest kind of rooting powder, is it the 3% or the 0.3%? And use that to dip in there before I put them in here. I am going to put up some shade cloth here before too long, so it's not too bright on them, but so they don't get burned. But yay! Okay, so this was the annual weed whacking of the mint patch. I just came in here, weed whacked down the old stems of the mint and some of the grass. There is grass growing in here, you can see down there. And yeah, I may come through here when I can bend over a little bit farther for longer and try and scoop them out. But for the most part, what's going to happen is the mint's going to grow up and it's going to completely obliterate the grass until the end of the year. And then if I'm on the ball, I can come out here and weed whack down the grass and keep it from going. For the most part, this has been here for 5-6 years. Nice little patch out in the broad sunshine. And it keeps coming back. There's actually 2 different kinds of mint in here. One's called Cookies and Cream. I bought it because of the name. Don't fall for that gambit like I usually do. And the other one was a lime mint. I don't taste lime or cookies and cream out of either one, and right now I couldn't tell you which was which. One was planted over here, one was planted over here. There's some lemon balm that'll come up over there. And if it comes back again this year, there's one gladiolus right there that keeps coming back year after year. I let it do its thing. But yeah, that's the down and dirty way to prepare a bed. Woolly Dragon style. Okay, this is the original asparagus bed. And I thought I had dug up all of the crowns and moved them. But as you can see, there's one here, and there's one right there. This is the purple asparagus. So there. Violets interspersed. Got some Dame's Rocket about to burst into bloom. A thyme that apparently really likes it in this spot. That is a catmint that is supposed to be an annual, but it came back. Several of them did, so who knows. I have some strawberries planted in here that, they're not doing so great, but they survived the winter. So I'm going to give them one chance to do something, and then if they don't do anything, I'll pull them up. And then my daylily that it was a straggly, sickly looking thing. I didn't have the heart to put it out of its misery, so I just threw it in this corner and said, do your thing. And it seems to be doing okay, even though we just had frost a couple of nights ago. And there's a few giant jump ups in here as well. So generally what I do is I try to amend each bed like every other year. So like last year, I didn't put compost on this one. I just did the weed whacking thing and let it go. So this year it's this bed's turn. Last year was this bed's turn. Next spring I'll do the same thing with this. So basically a lot of this stuff I use the tough love procedure. I cover it up with compost, probably about an inch deep. And if they fight their way through, like the violets I'm pretty sure will, the Johnny jump ups probably will. Again, we don't know what's going on with the strawberries. The Dame's rocket will, these flowers will go to seed, and then those will grow up to be next year's flowers. The daylily will surely come up. I'm not too sure what that is. What are you? Got little white flowers. It's either a weed or something I planted specifically, and I don't know what it is. Oh goody. Well, we'll hope it's not a noxious weed. We've got spinach and some peas growing on this bed. I had planted some broccoli, and they're not doing exactly great. We had a freeze like 10 days after, and I didn't cover them, so they kind of got knocked back because of that. So anyone tells you that broccoli is a frost tolerant plant, they mean the bigger plants, not the tiny ones. So and I think we've already got our cabbage looper moths out here, because I'm seeing some holes. Not so much in the broccoli, but the cabbage over here. Let me show you. So similar planting over here, more peas, more spinach. But you can see there's some missing in the center. That's because some naughty cat decided they wanted to dig in my spinach. So I had some cabbage planted about the same time as the broccoli. They did not survive. I had this one growing because it wasn't as big as the others. So I just went ahead and Hail Married and put that one in. So far it seems to be okay. Here's my Chinese cabbage, or my Napa cabbage. And as you can see with the little holes, probably got some either cabbage loopers or flea beetles, although it seems a little early for them. Oh, nope, there's one. All right, spray time, boys and girls. All right, so this is going to be my bed that I'm going to put motion sickness, sorry. So I'm going to put, you can see the tomato cages. So I know everyone says, yeah, don't use tomato cages because they're just not strong enough or big enough. Well, I attached them to these T-posts and they do okay. Yeah, the tomatoes, once they get to the top, start bending over, but that's okay. So I've got space to put 4 tomatoes over here. Previous years I have done just totally tomatoes. So I had 4 cages on this side, 4 cages on this side, kind of diagonal, so they kind of zigzagged a little bit, so there was more room for each one. And so this year I have decided I'm not going to quite do that. So I had this bed, which is 4x8, this bed, which is 4x6. You can see I've got the 3 cages set up with the 3 T-posts, and I had 6 last year. So this year I'm going to do 3 in this bed, and then put peppers on the other side so they get a little bit of afternoon shade. Same thing with this one, possibly. And then this bed, I need to go get the T-post pounder so I can put in 3 more T-posts. I'm going to do the same thing with that, but I'm going to have the tomatoes on the outside, so the east facing. So there's, in between these two, there'll be this one and this one. So these 2 spaces will hopefully be shaded by tomatoes on this side and on the far side of that one, so they won't get quite as much sun. Peppers, I'd actually grown my peppers last year in this bed with the my little cattle panel cover that I draped shade cloth over, and they grew fine, but it was a pain in the butt to kind of stoop over to have to pick the peppers and then remember not to come up too fast and brain myself on the cattle panel. So I'm going to try it, giving it shade this way. Peppers you can plant a little bit closer together than you can do with tomatoes. And then I have to decide where I'm going to put my, I've got some eggplant. I've got like 4 eggplants that I want to put in. I can probably do 1 or 2 over at my parents' house so they can have some, so I can kind of intersperse. I really need to get in the habit of remembering that I have gardening space over there. I always forget, and it's like, oh yeah, I could have planted those here. So if my plant sale doesn't yield a whole lot, I will have plenty of plants to put in both places. So the process I'm thinking of, so I've got this spot that I put this old black rug down to act as a weed suppressant. Let's see how it's doing. Oh, gravity. All right, so yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another 4x6 bed over here. And then I bought one of those Vigo beds, the 10-in-1, so I can make a 4x8 bed over here too. And I'm going to put that over here. My next goal is I have to borrow my parents' pickup truck and go get some soil at the local mulch place, landscape place. So that'll be fun. And the bees are waking up. These guys should be okay because I did check them before swarm season began, and they were kind of, I didn't see any queen cells on them, so they should be fine. The other guys, I still don't know where the swarm came from, so I get to do that this afternoon, I guess. Yay. All right, on to the next pot. Here, and this is where I had my cafe au lait. All right, where'd it go? All right, so this is where I had my cafe au lait dahlia. You can see there's a leaf coming up here. And there was another one. Where'd you go? Oh, over here. Yay! All right, we're just gonna put a little straw over you just in case we get in the cold weather. All right, yep. All right, so those people who tell you that, at least in zone 7, you have to dig up dahlias every fall and store them for the winter, give it a try. You never know. There's several in the back that are coming back. And then of course I grew a whole crap load of dahlias from seed, thinking, they probably died, I better have a backup plan. So I think this is going to be the year of the dahlias. Not that that's a bad thing. Okay, preliminary weed whacking and mowing done. I just have to move some of the stuff around here and planters to get around. But most of the garden is weed whacked, at least the front garden. So I'm going to go rest my knee, think of my next plan of mowing.